with water all around it. So how am I going to get my car across the water onto the island?
That's right. I'm going on a ferry.
But how do all the vehicles get onto the ferry? And how do they all fit inside? Do you know how a car ferry works? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Car ferry.
To find out how a car ferry works, I've come here to a port.
A port is where ferries and ships go to load and unload things. And ferries can carry people and cars across the water safely. You should never play in a port or near water, but I've got special permission to be here so I can show you how a car ferry works. The ferry can carry lots of vehicles across the water, and here they all are, waiting to go on the ferry in queues. There's big vehicles like this lorry. The cool lorries like this, large freight. And there's small vehicles like my little red car.
But how do all these vehicles get onto the ferry?
They drive under this gate.
Thank you.
And across this long platform called the link span.
But the link span ends here and the ferry is over there. So how are the cars going to drive across this big gap? The front of the ferry is called the prow, and it's coming all the way down to rest on top of the link span. It's made a little bridge, so now the vehicles can drive off the ferry into the port. This is Kevin, and Kevin is the loading officer. It's his job to get all the cars, vans, coaches and lorries onto the ferry in the right order. And he works together in a team with the deck officer.
The loading officer works on land, and the deck officer works on the ferry. And they talk to each other using walkie-talkies.
But to find out how the loading officer and the deck officer work together to make sure all the vehicles get onto the ferry safely, I think we need to take a closer look.
When the ferry is ready, the deck officer asks the loading officer for some vehicles, like 6 small cars. The loading officer signals to the cars to drive across the link span. And the deck officer signals to tell the cars which way to drive onto the ferry. Inside the ferry, the cars park onto a floor called the garage deck, which is fixed to hydraulic rams. When the garage deck is full, oil flows into the hydraulic rams and the garage deck moves upwards. This makes space for more vehicles to drive underneath. The deck officer asks the loading officer for more vehicles. This happens until the ferry is full. And when the ferry is full, it raises its prow, ready to set sail.
So you can see what happens when I drive my car onto the ferry. I've got some special cameras.
I'm attaching one onto the roof and one onto the door, so you can see what I see. And another one on the inside of the car, so you can see me as I drive onto the ferry.
Thank you, Kevin. Here we go. Wow. Right now, I'm driving over the link span, and ahead of me is the prow of the ferry. Ooh. And here's the deck officer.
Oh, it's a bit bumpy. Once I'm on the ferry, I stop.
Okay.
And now it's time for all the other cars to come aboard the garage deck. And when it's full, the hydraulic rams fill with oil and lift the garage deck up. The hydraulic rams keep pushing the deck up until we're at the top. Now it's time to get out of the car and go to the passenger deck, where we can enjoy the views.
Did you hear that sound? That sound? That was the ferry's horn.
The horns mean we're moving out of the
can drive over the link span onto the island.
Wasn't our trip on the ferry fun?
I loved finding out how a car ferry works. What was your favourite bit?
Do you remember the name of the platform that takes the vehicles from the land onto the ferry? That's right, it's called a link span. Did you hear the sound of the horn when we were leaving the port? And did you see on my special cameras as I drove onto the ferry and got lifted up on the carriage deck?
Ferries and boats help to transport cars and people across oceans, seas and rivers. On planet Earth, where we live, there are lots of really big seas and oceans, but there are also lots and lots of countries. Can you think of a way how we can see where all the other countries on Earth are? We could use this. It's called a globe. And look, we can see all the way around it. But how do all of the oceans, seas, rivers and countries get onto the globe in the right place? Do you know how a globe's made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
To find out how a globe is made, I've come to a globe maker's workshop. At this workshop, they make lots of different globes. Small globes, big globes, and globes that spin round and round. A globe is a model of planet Earth. At the top of the globe is the most northern part of the world.
We call it the geographical North Pole. And at the bottom of the globe is the geographical South Pole.
The globe has a line that goes around the middle, and that's called the equator. And the equator splits the world into the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere.
And two hemispheres make one sphere.
A sphere is a three-dimensional or 3D shape, and we call it that because there are three ways of measuring it.
The height is the distance from the top to the bottom. The circumference is the distance all the way around the middle. And the depth, that's the distance if we drill down from the surface of the Earth to the middle, deep inside.
To make a globe, flat pieces of map are joined together around a sphere. But how do they do it so neatly? Let's find out. This is the design area where each globe is designed, and Alyssa is a globe designer.
Alyssa's job is to design the flat sections of map that go on the globe.
Each section is called a gore, and each gore has a different part of planet Earth drawn on it. Can you hear that sound? That's the sound of the printer printing out the gores. The gores of the map are mostly printed in black and white. The colour is added later.
Next, the gores are cut out really carefully using a sharp knife. These 6 will make half our globe.
Once the gores have been cut out, they need to be painted. Alice uses watercolour paint for the gores. She mixes the watercolour paint with water to make it really thin so that we can still see the globe design through the paint. What do you think Alice is painting with blue watercolour paint?
That's right, it's water, like the seas and the oceans.
The gores are then left so the paint can dry, but they don't look much like a globe yet, do they? Next, we need one of these, a sphere. This sphere is made of a material called fiberglass, and fiberglass is lightweight and really strong.
That means fiberglass can be used to make lots of things, like surfboards, go-karts, and even helicopter blades.
This is Leo. It's his job to stick the gores onto the sphere.
First, Leo marks out some lines to make sure the gores go in the right spot. These are called latitudinal lines.
Leo matches up the latitudinal lines on the gores with the latitudinal lines he's marked on the sphere.
Look, can you see him matching the lines up? That squiggly latitudinal line is the equator.
He sticks them in place using a little bit of glue and lots of water. Sticking the gores onto a sphere is a really fiddly job. So I'm going to film Leo with one of my special cameras. This camera can film a time-lapse, which means I can film something that takes a really long time, but when we watch it back, it will happen quickly. Okay, the camera's recording.
Look, Leo's putting glue onto the sphere. Now he's taking a gore out of the water and is sticking it onto the sphere. This means he can match up the latitudinal lines without the gore sticking too quickly. Here's another gore. And another. Starting to look much more like a globe, isn't it? Once Leo is finished, the mountains and rivers are painted onto the globe before a layer of varnish is added.
Varnish is clear and runny, but when it dries, it goes hard, so it protects the globe. A bit like an eggshell.
The globe is then attached to its stand.
And here we have a finished globe. Let's see if we can find where I am in the UK. Where am I? Here I am, the United Kingdom. If I spin the globe, here we find India. Even further down here is Australia. How amazing is that? I loved finding out how a globe is made. What was your favourite bit?
Do you remember the name of the flat pieces of paper that are stuck onto the sphere? That's right, they're called gores. Did you hear the sound that the printer made as it printed out the gores? And did you see my special time-lapse camera filming the gores being stuck onto the sphere?
So the next time you see a globe, you'll be able to point out different countries and oceans, and you'll know how it was made. And if you see a car ferry, you'll know exactly how it works to get cars across the sea. I'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm at an airport. Have you ever been to an airport? When we go on an aeroplane, we need a ticket. Sometimes we need a passport. But what else might we need?
That's right, sometimes we need a suitcase.
When we go away, we pack everything we need inside a suitcase. And when we get to the airport, we need to go to a check-in desk. The big bags and suitcases we travel with are called baggage, and we check baggage onto the plane here at the check-in desks. But how does airport baggage work? Let's find out. How does it work?
Airport baggage.
At this airport, thousands of people fly in and out every single day. And on a really busy day, the airport can check in over 3,500 bags and suitcases. And altogether, they weigh more than 40 hippopotamuses. Thank you. This is Emily, and it's Emily's job to check in all the baggage for the flight. First, Emily weighs the suitcase. Hidden underneath the conveyor belt is a set of scales. The scales weigh the suitcase and the weight pops up just here. They work in the same way as kitchen scales you might have used when helping a grown-up to bake a cake. Can you see Emily is attaching a tag to my suitcase? That is the destination tag. And this is the airport code. Every airport around the world has a code that's made up of different letters, and this code matches the airport where the baggage is going. And that means your baggage travels safely with you all the way to your destination. Can you see at the end of this short conveyor belt is a rubber curtain? Well, behind that, there are lots more conveyor belts. But how do the conveyor belts work together to make sure the baggage ends up in the right place? To find out,
I think we should take a closer look.
When we check in our baggage, it's given a destination tag with a barcode. The travel agent presses a button, and the suitcase moves along a short conveyor belt, called an ejector belt, to a long conveyor belt carrying all the checked-in baggage. There are lots of ejector belts, and at the end of each one is a laser beam. When the suitcase breaks the beam sends a signal to the other ejector belts, telling them the suitcase is there. The ejector belts take it in turn to push the baggage onto the long conveyor belt. The suitcase is then carried into the baggage room and to the baggage dock. The destination tag is checked and the suitcase is put onto a trolley that takes it to the right aeroplane.
Wow, that was really interesting. So that we can find out how the suitcase gets from the check-in desk to the baggage dock for real, I've been given special permission to put one of my special cameras on this suitcase. Off it goes behind the curtain. Look, the conveyor belt has stopped my suitcase. It's waiting for the laser to send a message to push my suitcase onto the long conveyor belt. There it goes. Made a clunking sound, didn't it? After a short trip behind the check-in desk, my suitcase reaches another rubber curtain and goes up a ramp. It's like a fairground ride for suitcases. It goes down, round, up, and even spins round. And finally, my suitcase turns one more corner and arrives in the baggage room. Look how big the baggage room is. I wonder where my suitcase is. There it is. This is Phil, and it's Phil's job to make sure that the baggage in the baggage room goes onto the right flight. Phil checks the destination tags and is looking for the right airport code. When he finds a suitcase with the right airport code, he loads it onto one of these. It's called a dolly. Oh, here's our bag now.
Next, a special car called a tug hooks onto the dolly and takes all the baggage to the plane, where they're loaded onto another conveyor belt.
There's our suitcase being loaded on now.
And look, our suitcase is about to go through a little door into the hold underneath where the passengers sit, ready for the plane to take off.
And there you have it. My suitcase has made it from the check-in desk onto the plane, ready for me to meet it on the other side. I love finding out how airport baggage works. What did you like most?
Do you remember the name of the tag that tells us where the baggage is going? That's right, it's called the destination tag. Do you remember the sound the bag made when it was pushed onto the big conveyor belt? And did you see my suitcase come down into the baggage room on my special camera?
So now you know what happens when you check in baggage at an airport. Bags come in lots of different shapes and sizes, don't they? You might pack a big suitcase like this one if you're going on holiday, or a slightly smaller case if you're going for a shorter trip.
Or if you're going on a day out, you might use one of these, a rucksack.
Do you know how a rucksack's made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
Rucksack. Rucksacks are made in a place like this. A rucksack factory. Rucksacks come in all sorts of different colours, shapes and sizes. Most rucksacks will have a zip, a handle to hold, 2 straps so we can carry it on our back, and a pocket at the front to put things in.
But how are they made?
This factory make rucksacks out of a material called nylon. And nylon is great for making rucksacks because it's smooth, it's tough, and very, very strong. Whoa, look at that. But this is only a small piece. Today, they're making rucksacks out of 3 colours: blue, orange and red. The rucksack starts out in here, the fabric room, with a huge roll of blue fabric. There is loads of it. There's 50 metres of fabric on 1 roll. That's the same length as an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And just this roll of fabric can make 60 rucksacks. Phew, I think we're there. After the fabric has been rolled out, it gets cut into strips on the cutting table. Next, the big strip of fabric needs to be divided into smaller pieces. Rob's using something called a template, and each shape will make a different part of the rucksack. Do you know what he's using to draw around the templates? That's right, it's chalk. Rob then draws around templates on the red and orange fabrics, ready for everything to be cut out. The shapes are cut out using this machine. It has a round blade that spins really, really fast to cut through the fabric. And to keep Rob nice and safe, he's got to wear one of these. It's a metal glove. How cool is that? The blade is spinning round really, really fast. And look how easily it's cutting through the layers of fabric. Rob can cut out 4 rucksack pieces at the same time. This means the factory can make lots of rucksacks quicker. All of these pieces will make 1 rucksack. This piece is going to be the front of a strap, and this orange piece is going to make the front pocket. But what do you think happens next? Can you hear that noise? We're in the sewing room, and that's the sound of lots of sewing machines all working at the same time. Over at this machine, Debbie's sewing something onto a piece of fabric. And we need it to open and close the rucksack. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's a zip. But there's lots more sewing to be done. Next, Rob makes the handle for our rucksack. He makes it using an extra strong piece of nylon called webbing. But to make the webbing even stronger, he uses this machine. Whoa! It's called a bar tacker, and it makes a special type of stitch called a bar tack stitch. Wow, that was really quick. It only takes Rob about 3 seconds to make each handle. To get a closer look, I'm going to film this with my special slow motion camera. It lets us see things that happen really quickly, much slower. Right, camera set. Let's go, Rob. Okay, let's watch it back so we can see how the machine works. Look, can you see the needle? It's making a tiny zigzag pattern. Now we can see what's happening. It's going back and forth, back and forth. That's brilliant. And by doing so many stitches close together, it makes the handle really strong. How clever is that? There's one more thing our rucksack needs, and that's the straps. Here, Debbie is sewing 2 pieces of red material together. Can you see? Now a piece of foam goes inside so the bag's comfortable to carry on our backs. The straps are nearly ready, but to make everything neat and tidy, Debbie uses a new machine to fold and sew a piece of material along the edge of the strap. It's called binding. Look how quick it is. So we've got the zip, the handle, the straps, the back and front of the bag, which now has a bright orange pocket. Now we just need to stitch everything together. First, the straps are sewn onto the back. Oh, and there's the handle. It's really starting to look like a rucksack now, isn't it? But something's missing. That's right, the sides. That's the part which has
the zip. In it goes.
And there you have it, a finished rucksack, ready to be used. What did you like most about seeing how a rucksack's made?
Do you remember the name of the fabric that makes the bags really strong? That's right, it's called nylon. Did you hear the sound of all the sewing machines? And did you see my special slow-motion camera filming the bar tack stitch? It made a zigzag pattern, didn't it?
So the next time you use a rucksack and take a look inside to put some things in, you'll know how it was made. And if you go to an airport, you know how the baggage gets from a check-in desk onto a plane. I'll see you next time.